Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening on behalf of this august body to ask you, Heavenly Father, to bless them as they make their deliberations and their choices this evening. May justice and right prevail. And Father, we ask your blessings upon the administration of our community, upon the people who serve in the various departments, as well as our police and firemen. And we ask for safety and blessings upon our community. Now, Heavenly Father, again, bless this body. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to reverse our order a little bit here tonight. This time, I'd like Mr. Collins to address the commission.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
My name is Donnie Collins with the County Commission, for those that may not know me. And the last thing I want to do is be here talking to you tonight about a sales tax and a property tax increase. But from the Commission standpoint and for the citizens of Duncombe County, the last 36 days since we got the news the hospital was closing, this is the avenue it led us to. There's not any funds that we can find where an entity, a state organization, federal organization is going to come to Kennett and build us a $15 million hospital. So that puts it back on us if the citizens of Duncombe County want to have a hospital. And to that measure, it goes to taxes. So we think we've come up with the best possible plan with the information we know today to do that. So I want to explain it to you and answer any questions that you have. So last Tuesday, we had a special meeting. We put Proposition Health on the ballot for August 7th and Proposition Care. Both of them must pass. You have to have health and care together for this to work. Proposition Health is a half-cent sales tax, capital improvement sales tax. It will generate roughly $1 million a year. It has a sunset of 30 years. We will use those funds to build a hospital. The hospital building will include a 3 to 10 bed inpatient surge rooms, an emergency room, lab, imaging services, pharmacy. It's the design, the state. They give us the regulations for what we can have for a standalone hospital. So those are the minimums to have a hospital. Okay, so that's what we're blueprinting it off of. That facility is going to be roughly 25,000 square feet. An estimated cost $10 to $12 million. Okay, so we will use the sales tax money to pay off the bonds that we sell to build the facility. All right. As soon as the bonds are paid off, we turn the sales tax off. Okay. The next proposition is Proposition Care. In our research over the last month, and when I say research, it's the mayor, it's Jim, it's the local doctors, it's the commission, state. Everybody had input in doing this. And visiting with other professional management company and other small towns and hospitals, you have to have some type of funding source to entice this professional management firm to come to town and run your hospital. So in the city of Lynn, that's Cross County, they passed that 1 cent sales tax. That money goes into the operation of that hospital. Okay. Same situation or similar in Walnut Ridge. We've got the same situation in Donovan. Dexter does not have a funding mechanism, but I have been told that their hospital loses money. So the only way it is operating is they're getting enough draw going to the Cape facility, the mothership, to justify the loss that they're getting. Okay? But that was the only one that was unusual that did that. But it became evident we're going to have something to help operate this facility. So that's Proposition Care, a half-cent property tax that will be used for operations of the hospital. The commission will oversee the construction and then will oversee hiring a professional management firm to operate this facility. We do not want to manage a hospital. That was done in the past. This is a different setup. Before there was a hospital board and the commission was in the day-to-day activity along with that board of managing that hospital. This is a different scenario where the commission will hire a firm, come in to run the hospital. They'll have a contract for a certain amount of years, and then if they want to give it up, we find somebody else. Plus, we'll have input on competitive pricing and services that are offered. Okay. With the information we have today, with the generosity of the city, the hospital will be built on Floyd Street on the Compress property where it's currently a bean field, somewhere in that situation, okay? The next step as a commission, hopefully next week, we will be hiring a team to do a feasibility study. So they're gonna do a study that's gonna come up and tell us what services are profitable, what are not, so that we can tweak our plan with the services that we need to offer. And I would ask the city to consider making a donation to paying that fee if you could. So for the feasibility study, they estimate costs anywhere from $30,000 to $35,000. And the last thing, there will be a committee outside of the commission in the city that's going to start a marketing campaign in the next week or so that, of course, we can't use city or county funds, but I'm sure you'll be hearing about that, and they may be asking for donations. Questions of me and audience too. So if it's okay with the mayor, I'll field anything. Yes, Kenny.
How much revenue will the half-cent property tax generate?
1.1 million is our estimate. And when I say estimate, it's because we're not sure what's gonna happen with the hospital property. So we've got machines that are coming off property taxes. We've got a building that potentially could be coming off property taxes depending on what they do with it.
It's sunset also.
Pardon me?
Will it be sunset or will it be?
No, it will be forever. But I'm glad you brought that up. Ideal situation, we get a management firm that comes in here is running our hospital, they're making a profit. They don't need the funds. The commission can roll back the tax. So we can either lower it or roll it back to zero, just like we did with our old property tax. Okay, so we have flexibility there.
Would you repeat the minimal requirements that you stated to the state that for the 25,000 square feet?
3 inpatient rooms, surge rooms. I don't know what that terminology means, you would. The emergency room, imaging, lab, pharmacy.
Okay.
So,
Will part of that be OB?
no, it would not be, not in this phase, so. Questions from out there?
So you said there is not an OB portion?
Not in this current plan, no.
Is that something that you're thinking about though?
Well,
The OB?
it's very expensive, and all our efforts are right now to get Pemiscot County up with OB, okay? So, if we're helping them get OB up, we don't want to come back and put OB in us and then put them out of business, okay? Bottom line is, we don't have the money to build it right now if we wanted to, okay? We'd have to ask for a bigger tax increase, okay? So for right now, our emphasis is getting Pemiscot County back with OB.
Okay.
But nothing rules out the possibility in future years, if this is facilities doing well, that we come back with this phase 2. But the initial phase does not include.
So both of them are a half cent.
Yes, that's correct. A half-cent sales and a half-cent property.
John, how many employees you think you're gonna,
Great question, and I don't have a good answer for that. So,
that will?
Are other towns that are going to be using the county hospital, will they be asked to put in a certain amount for the feasibility study?
great question, and yes, it's possible, but then I also know the financial situation of every town, and you happen to be the biggest town in it.
That has the biggest.
And that possibility is too. And you can always answer no. So I just wanted to ask.
The
Sir,
sales tax, is this just strictly for the city of Kennet, or is it gonna be strictly for the county?
it's the whole town.
The county.
That's what I was-
But I am not naive that We have a very long county. So a hospital located in Kennett is gonna have the biggest impact in the center. So,
If everything passes.
yes,
Estimated time to build, you have
12 to 18 months.
one.
After the feasibility study, yeah, and you don't know how long that'll take?
It'll be done by August 7th.
Okay.
Because we want to move immediately.
the tax passes, not after the feasibility.
Will we have to-
Well, both are gonna be in
We are
August.
looking at a facility that would be expandable, such as a good
Correct. That's right.
foundation that could go up.
Up or out. So, yes. We're not going to landlock ourselves.
This is a certificate of need.
We're filing it for it next week. So they have several deadlines that come up, but the certificate of need is where you file with the state for the license for a hospital. So
For a 3-bed hospital.
there's a bunch of questions on there. I'm probably going to have to hire somebody to assist us. Because my understanding is we can file for a 30-bed in hopes to grow to that someday. You don't have to limit yourself up front.
And it's also my understanding you can file for a 3-bed and then expand to 100.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And I'm not sure, that was all, that's my understanding.
I just didn't want to follow.
Don't take that to the bank, but that's my understanding.
Sir.
That's why they did it in Poplar, up at Black River Medical Center. They got a 3-bed, and are going to expand from that.
Okay.
You might explain the limitations on ambulance service. When you have emergency, you can't have an emergency room, and they can't go except to.
Okay. So all right. It is my understanding that after July 1st, if you pick up the phone and call for emergency, that ambulance comes to your house and picks you up, that they're going to say, where do you want to go? They can't take you to the urgent care.
That's correct.
They've got to take you to a hospital facility or to the helicopter.
Yes.
Okay, so that, we need to preach that to everybody. For somebody that, it may be a minor medical emergency, if they can drive themselves to the urgent care, they might be better off.
The ambulance could take it from, they can go to the urgent care. If you get there on your own and something's worse, they can go to the urgent care and transfer you to a hospital, but they cannot take
Transfer
you
you
there.
to the urgent care.
What about fee structure?
Fee structure?
Yeah, because like right now, you know,
Yes.
if I need a set of x-rays or something like that, I didn't use this hospital because it was outrageously too expensive. I sent them over to Piggott and get it done, you know, for, you know, a 2-chest x-ray was $73.
Right. Great question. Bottom line is the fee structure will be totally different because the commission controls it. Because we're signing a contract with that management company, okay? So we're gonna control it there. We know people are leaving town because of the fee structure. We know that some of our doctors were sending stuff out of town because of the fee structure. Fee structure is key. So, and Randall Williams, the State Director of Health, he's been very helpful and guaranteed us that he'll help us with our funding mechanism to make sure that we get the most for Medicaid, Medicare, and the different reimbursements. So I'm confident with that, so. Any others? I'll be available if
I
something
wanted
comes up.
to
Sure.
ask you about the marketing. How did you say that was going to work?
So, I can't do it, but there will be a committee formed, and so the committee for healthcare in Dunklin County, so named, where people will donate money, will have to raise our funds, and then that committee will be doing the marketing. If you remember back, was it Prop Kids, the school did for theirs?
Mhm.
Same idea.
Okay.
But we just can't fund it as,
And that's how people can find out also though, what actually the hospital's going to have. It's within it, the marketing pieces that they make.
yes.
Yes.
I don't know that you would get more than what I'm telling you now, though.
No, I understand that, but it's something that's tangible.
Right. Whether it's flyers, handout ads, radio ads, and stuff like that. Other questions?
Sounds like a plan.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
On the roll, Mr. Mitchell, you're on the agenda, would you like to speak?
Well, I certainly would.
Easy, man, easy.
I thought you'd never ask.
You confer with council.
Yeah.
Diane may be the only one. No, I take that back. Look at this bunch, she's the only one that can answer this question. Do you recognize the hat?
I do. That's when they started the barbecue contest.
What years would that have been?
Oh, gosh, Keith.
Anyway,
The-
this is, that's the point. And at one time, we had a huge, or what a country boy called a huge 4th of July city celebration. We had pony rides and softball games and horseshoe pitching contests and so on and so on. And Larry Thomason and Barney Greenway primarily, in my opinion, were the ones I worked with, were responsible for this. And it was a great time when it was. And like I said, most of you all don't remember it. But anyway, that's where the hat came from. It just so happens that I say things like that. Most of them are just about this valuable to people too. Most people are they're just about as excited about it as you all are.
I think it was 1979.
I was gonna say, whatever the JC contest this year was,
Yeah, I don't know if the barbecue contest was started 79. First 4th of July
Okay.
celebration I remember was 1979.
That's interesting that, the point of this that ran through, I don't know why I even got onto this, but like I said, one time we had the 4th of July in Kent was really a real 4th of July celebration, and we did everything, and they had all the clubs working, and it was quite an event. But we're down to just about to a fireworks display. And that is what I'm here for partly. Kiko Pharmacy and Wilson Fireworks want to donate $5,000 towards the fireworks display. And this is from Sharon and Billy Joe Wilson and his little noise makers out there from Kiko Pharmacy, Jared Maddox and his drug pushers out there. So this is our check, and I didn't fill it out, Diane. I know you're very capable, you can take care of that duty. If you will
Just sign it.
fill it.
Just add an extra zero.
It is.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks, Keith.
Yes, you're welcome, you're most welcome. At one point, I suggested to the people who furnish our fireworks, do them, that we would like a longer, more fireworks session. And he was just quite honest about it. He said, you don't need any more. This is all we do any place at 20, 25 minutes is about all the attention you're gonna get. And said we can spread it out over a longer period of time, but he said this is just about all you need. So this is why we stayed with this same amount, I guess, all these times, because he just was very encouraging when I talked to him. But anyway, and I come to you ending another very delightful day in God's world, and especially in Kennett, Missouri. And we are well aware that the city has other expenses towards the fireworks display, and that it is expensive and a big deal for all the city government, the fire department, and the country club, and so on. But this will take care of part of the expenses anyway. And now moving right on. As I have mentioned at other times before this council, whether it was this same council people or not, I have a few words concerning the west of Kennett Square highway shoulders. In 1967, when I began a business career in Kennett, most of the city of Kennett's business places And that's probably not a true statement, but a lot of it was west of the square and on the square. And now the west of the square is making a comeback. For your information, in case you haven't paid attention or it's not been high on your priority list, starting at the west side of the square, at the new Stan Morris's new Pizza Hut, the new shop across on the corner where they have home health and a contingency consignment shop, JP's car lot there. There's a to be announced and another to be announced business endeavor on the west side of the square. We have a new snow cone shop, newly redone fitness center, new owners of the McCall Tire and Appliance is supposed to be bigger and better. We have a liquor store, a new one. We have a nursery, as in shrubs and mulch and yard care on the west side that is there now that hasn't been there long. We have a refurbished bowling alley. We have 2 new mechanic fixed-up body shops. We have a refurbished and always enlarging West 84 motel. If one can find anything else to do out there, he will. We have a new owner of Miller's Guns. I don't know if he replaced James or not, but the place is in a different hands. That's the ones that really are in my mind, new. And what the last yearly covered, that I don't know. And of course, we have a lot of the old people who've been out there for a long time, and you all are familiar with Bill Hortons and Fox and Terry Crawford, Lois Kirkland, Baker Wellman Brown, Dr. Wayne, and some others that I'm sure I don't have on there. These people in those places are employees, and that's where our tax comes from, and there's jobs west of the square. Maybe some of us haven't realized, and the other residents in the city do not realize, how the shoulders on that St. Francis west of the square have deteriorated. They are in horrible shape. They become hazardous to walk or even drive. This part of Kennett needs help and fixing, in my opinion. And anything that helps the West End helps the elderly and the old and everybody else. I think and have witnessed much discussion about repairing, redoing, refurbishing, whatever the term is, for the potholes and the shoulders west of the square. And I really think it's time, some way, we figure out something to do out there on a permanent basis, temporary basis, because it's getting worse instead of better. And if you all haven't been out there, I behoove you to go see, so you can see for yourselves, and to witness the new activity on the west side of the square in Kennett. And I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We'll get back on the agenda here. In your packet, you have the minutes for the May 15th meeting.
Motion.
Any discussion, corrections? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're going to do committee reports. Finance.
Well, we don't have our numbers yet for sales tax 1 and 2 for the month of May. We'll get that sometime later on this week. We are working on the new budget. We should have that finalized before the next meeting. We'll have 2 more departments to do this week. Thursday, I believe, is our next meeting. We'll keep you updated.
Fire,
Nothing right now.
human resource.
We did have a productive meeting there last night.
But other than that, I don't have anything for the public.
Police,
Nothing for the public this time.
street,
Yes. One thing we want to do tonight is we want the council to approve our policy for accelerated street paving and sidewalk work. And you guys all have a copy of that. What we're trying to do is provide a way that if someone wants to speed up the process of paving a gravel street or getting sidewalk work done in front of their house, they don't have to wait for it to come up through our current system. If they would like to participate in it financially, then we'll speed it up. And so, this is just a way to give people an opportunity to get sidewalks or streets paved quicker. Read it over. I'd like to, we've been working on this for a pretty good while now. Yeah, so I would like to get this passed tonight if we could do so. Committee approved it. I would like, let's see,
When you say the residents gonna be responsible for the work to be done in front of their house?
No, it's a
If they
way,
want it accelerated, if they wanna wait on the city, then it'll be the city.
we'll be involved in it if they choose to speed it up as well. They're just gonna help financially. Take
That's
care
if
of
they
it.
want to accelerate.
If they want to accelerate it, that's right.
But now, if they
It's
don't
no
wait on the
change
city, then
in,
there's no cost, right?
right. There's no change in any of our current policy. It's just a way, we have people all the time saying, what are you gonna do to my street? I wanna speed up. If they wanna speed it up, then this is the way for them to do it, okay? It doesn't change anything that we're gonna do in terms of paving or any work like that. It's just a way to get it done quicker. That's it.
Motion. Second.
motion is second. Bill, you have copies that was distributed in the past, but I don't think we have a copy tonight. You got a copy to
Yes.
circulate?
Yes. You want- I think we emailed it, as well, didn't we, Randy?
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody got an email on it?
Everybody needs to look at a copy.
So if an individual wants to participate, how do you figure out the cost? What it would cost them to go?
We estimate the cost of the project. It's a
And
percentage.
is there a percentage of
Yeah,
the
what-
actual cost?
Third.
A third?
City pays a third, each side, street pays a third, or sidewalk it'd be 50/50.
Okay.
Give me one minute.
I mean, we're not gonna pave in front of one house.
That's what I'm saying, how do you limit
Street.
it? Oh, the whole street?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this policy may never come into play, but we want to have the opportunity, if a group of citizens want to get their street done quicker, we want to be able to provide that. Like I said, I don't know if it'll ever come into play, but let's have it available.
I believe that happened in the past, when it Pickens,
In Pickens, the people of the subdivision paid all the costs. In the past, what has been done is the landowner would pay whatever percentage they pay, but they would pay it over a 10-year period. Actually, the contractor would issue bonds and collect their money over a 10-year period.
That was before the transportation tax, though.
That was well before the transportation tax. We haven't used, that method is still on the books. Matter of fact, it's also statutory way to do it. And we haven't used that 25 years.
Last one I found was in the 60s, I'm not saying.
Now, there's been some since,
Okay.
there were some that were being paid off in the 90s. And there were 10-year payoffs, so there were some being paid off in the 90s, early 90s. So it's been about 30 years since that's been done.
any questions or further discussion? We have a motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I Also wanted to let you all know that some of the issues that we've had with sidewalk damage and different vehicles driving over the sidewalk and interrupting that is being paid for by the company responsible for it. So I'm very pleased to say that. We're working on the street signs.
Thank you, sir.
Taking an inventory of that, and we've working on our budget to make sure that we get the best bang for our buck this year with the streets that we're going to do, the paving and all that stuff. So we're gonna kind of refine that just a little bit, but you know, we're still working towards that, as well as the Third Street project, as well as the St. Francis Street project. All those are still being worked on and coming to play.
Last night I was at the ballpark, and right there, Bandon Park, where you're doing road work, 2 people said they hit that very hard, and they just didn't see it. How quickly are we gonna get that covered back up? And if not, can we put some cones out there, or something so they see
I
it?
think they're gonna come in tomorrow and start working on it.
Tomorrow?
They're not? Okay, change your mind.
I'm sorry.
Not gonna be tomorrow.
The,
It was gonna be
Can we
again.
mark it a little bit better?
Prep crew will probably be here to work with us a little bit tomorrow, but the plant's not running over at Haytown.
Can we get something out there?
To market.
Tomorrow, Scotty,
Bump or something.
Scotty even bombed out it.
We'll do whatever you say, but this has been, the same procedure's been taking place at least for 20 years.
I get it.
Before I came, Roger did it, Roger Montgomery, and the asphalt company did the milling ahead of time. We've only done it the last 3. We can do whatever you want.
Yeah, well, I
But we've
just
got
think that
9
save a
streets
bump at a
now,
time.
and that's gonna be about 25 locations. You know, before we get done, we're gonna be at 21 or 22 streets, and that'll probably be over 100 locations if we need to put something.
Well,
This is a pretty highly traveled
I would say that we need about 100 cones.
I got a phone call and a text about the exact same thing today.
I mean, I'll do whatever you say, I mean, but I mean.
Cones out or something that somebody else done.
I mean, I'm not, you know, yeah. I mean, we're gonna start buying
As a
bumpers and oil pans.
person that works on the street, cones ain't gonna slow them down. They don't slow them down in the work zone.
Please, one at a time.
So, should we get,
What,
should we, I mean, do you agree?
give me the location of it again.
No, the text I got was just right, in front of Indian Park.
I'll go out there
It's Center
tonight.
Street, and Bradley, one of the police officers almost hit there.
Cones up at Compress by Indian Park.
What can be used if cones,
Well, I mean, I think the girl just didn't see it or whatever, so they just asked if we put some cones out or
I'll go out
something.
tonight, check it out,
something better than.
be in contact with Randy. We'll go from there.
Okay.
Thank you.
That does.
Stormwater.
The state will be in town next week to do a stormwater audit on the city. This is a paperwork audit as well as a visit to each of the city-owned facilities. There'll also be a couple of active construction sites visited by the state auditors. Victor and I have worked on 2 sections of the stormwater documents that we have to do. Stormwater Committee the other night had an opportunity to look at the 30 pages in a draft form. Victor and I cleaned that up quite a bit. And it's at Terry's office now for legal review. These pages cover just land disturbance and illicit discharge, that's all it covers. So we've still got, that's less than a third of what we've got to do. We still, for these 2, we've still got applications, checklists, and inspection forms to go along with that, as well as the stormwater design manual that has to be done for, to tell the engineers what's got to be in the whole document. So we're talking about probably another 75 or 100 pages
go along with that 30. So we still have to do. Victor and I'll probably be in touch with the other department heads over the next few days. As we try to get ready for this audit, we may need a little help from them on different things at their facilities. So, this is kind of a big deal, this audit. Last time we were audited, a few months later, we got the letter that we were in non-compliance. So.
Change it.
As you said, this is a big deal, whether you realize it or not. All the stormwater being mandated, will not be given options. You know, either comply or it could get ugly down the road, so. Appreciate you going through a bit, but really try to get us ready for the audit. Department reports, fire department, John?
First start with animal control, two of the animal control officers attended the Department of Agricultural training. They're the ones that regulate your impounds, and that will help us towards one of the MIRMA, our insurance company requirement. We want to see additional training. We also have it scheduled in September to go to a annual conference. Fire department, we did the annual pump test on all of our trucks today. That helps us to meet the ISO requirements so that we can keep a decent rating for community's insurance, fire insurance rating. We did have a fire about a week or two ago on Henderson Street. It was a result of fireworks, we believe, already. They've been blowing them off all day long, and two people were running out of a garage, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, he was fully involved, and ended up damaging the unattached house there next to it, which was quite a loss. So, you know, it's coming up on us. We just need to, people need to adhere to the city ordinances on the discharge of fireworks. And with that, we had a meeting tonight. I think we're going to wait on our proposal to meet with the our police committee and their ideas, because we don't have all the picture. They have a greater part of it in their response to the calls. So we want to try to mesh it together to get something productive with the citizens that complained this last year. Looked over the building permit. There's quite a bit of anything minor from remodels to new construction to renovation going on within the community this time of the year, which is good for the community. I think the project out at the Cotton Plaza is coming along real good. We'll see that opened up soon, which will be a big boost to the community as well. So, any questions? Today was quite busy with the pump test, and we had something else we was trying to get fixed up for a business where a fire truck going to a call had pulled off to try to keep the road clear and struck a pole and caused some damage to the property, and we were trying to get that cleaned back up for the owner. So I didn't get the monthly report, but I'll have that next meeting. It'll be both the April, I was gone the second meeting, but I'll have April, May report for you for that. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Police department?
Mayor, I'll keep it short tonight. I know we're short on time. I want to thank y'all first on the seriousness that you're taking our budget. I mean, I know you went through all the departments, and I appreciate it because we know there's just so much money to go around in keeping our town safe as far as it's in the public safety, our streets, you know, parks and all that. It takes money, it takes personnel, it takes a lot of equipment, it's a lot of money. And there's just so much of a pie to share with. And
far as myself and our officers would respect that, and we know there's gonna be trimming, it's been trimming the last 3 years. Once we finally got it built up, we're starting to go back, but hopefully we can get that trend stopped. I'm in 100% support, whatever we decide, that's what we'll do. There's a lot of law enforcement projects that we wanted to do. We may have to put some of that on hold, but mainly, we've got to keep the citizens safe, and that's number one responsibility as far as I'm concerned, and we'll do that. It's starting to stay daylight longer now, you got a lot more people out, our patrollers are starting to patrol residential areas a lot more. That puts a burden on us sometimes, because this time of year, our calls are going up, calls of service is probably up about 30% in the last month, so that's just the time of year it is, and we'll kick it here and we'll go with that, but people in residential areas, I ask them if they see people that's suspicious, walk around in their yards, please give us a call. Because a lot of times people are walking around right now just looking for lawnmowers, bicycles, just anything they can get to steal. And they really don't care what it is, as long as they can get them a hit of something or make them a little money on the side. Other than that, like I said, I appreciate everything. Got any questions for me?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Also on the fireworks thing, it is that time of year again, and I know there's a lot of suggestions and a lot of information passed around, anything we can do to help with, we'll make into it. Great, good job. Thank you.
I did have the milling situation on the night. Like I said, we'll do whatever you all want. We feel like we need to do for the citizens. The only other thing I'd like to add to that is the reason that it's getting drawn out a little bit and the milling starts a little sooner is these guys don't do it every day on the whole construction season, where the contractor can do it a little bit faster. They've got more equipment than we've got. So, the streets are milled out a little bit longer. But the reason we're doing that is we're trying to stretch the citizens' transportation tax dollars and get every little bit we can out of that and get more work done for you. I have been, I've gotten a couple of calls, one call up here, and the guys are getting calls in the street. I talked to Victor about it, but we're having a lot of problems with the trash trucks and their leaking pans again. This time of year it's getting warm and the smell stays for several days, but that can also, there are ordinances against it already, but we don't get heavy-handed with this, but this can also be a problem next week if we're driving the state inspector around and we drive down the street, there's a nice big wet spot on the dry day, trash truck. That's what's called an illicit discharge, and that's bad. So, we calling them and asking for their cooperation, but it's a problem not just that Victor and I are trying to address. We're getting a lot of complaints and hearing a lot about it in town. Another thing I'd like to address is we're getting a lot of complaints about the street department needs to go trim everybody's trees and bushes in town. The trees and bushes are on private property. They're on their right of way. Some of them are problems with visibility or hanging down. We try to work with the fire department and help the school buses and delivery trucks and stuff like that are taller around town too. But we've got 112 miles of streets in Kent, and it's a little difficult for us to get around and trim everybody's trees, shrubs, hedges, and so on and so forth. Now, this is the property owner's responsibility to take care of their own property. This stuff is no different than the height of their yard and all that type of thing. So if we could ask the news media to help us with that and make a little bit of a point to, we do through Diane's office and the help of the ladies up here, we've got a work order for the street department. Yesterday and today, here's 4 locations that that people want us to go trim because of visibility and stuff. We do work quite a bit trying to trim around the stop signs, so we can try to keep them visible. but, you know, that's really about all we can do. We do trim now and then, yes, we do, but, it takes a lot of time. And then by the time we get started trimming good, we get complaints because, well, you trim my bush, or you trim my tree, or, you know, so, it's kind of another one of those things that's, you know, it's a catch-22. If we trim it back to where it's not gonna go back out there, you know, we trim it that far, it's gonna go back before the summer's over. So if we really trim it back, we get fussed at, so. But if the property owners would just do it, then it'd be better for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under unfinished business, Kelly, I believe is, recommendation for the senior citizens.
Although I didn't bring it with me, we do have it. I know, my big moment. But I do want to get with Steve because, to come up with a figure that we can give you.
Is that the same request that we had the last time, or?
I just haven't gotten the check cut. We need to.
They requested that.
We got a request, and
Yeah.
the council needs to
To approve it before we
We
get,
don't have
request it
100,000
for
Yeah.
to give yet.
Yes,
yeah, we don't have the total amount.
I understand
Are we
that.
gonna have another committee,
Yeah, we should.
another committee meeting?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's make that.
I'll get with you afterwards.
Excuse me,
We have
tonight I asked the
Thursday.
council,
We can put one,
we've got a request for $100,000
try to
for
do
the
both on
senior
Thursday night.
citizens.
You
We need to approve this.
can
We could not allocate any money to them until you approve the request.
Would you do that for Thursday?
We would entertain a motion,
I make a motion.
a motion by
We
second,
can't do it Thursday night.
What do we want?
$100,000 for senior citizens, goes to Oaks. That's for the year.
That's for the year.
That's what we talked about.
Second.
Yeah.
Motion is second. Any further discussion, questions? All in favor, say aye. Okay.
So we don't have to have
Do you need another meeting?
a
We'll
We'll
give
just
Steve
have
and
to figure out
Diane.
what amount we can allocate at this
We
time.
don't have that much in senior citizen account.
This will be basically paid out on a monthly basis, but time of year we are, we need to play catch-up.
Right.
And I think we've got enough money in the fund now we can catch up to where we're doing a monthly basis as the money comes in, so we'll get that moving. Thank you. Just a couple of items of interest from my chair. The company is working on the concrete roof today. After, we may say 8 months, we finally got the roof being fixed. We'll get that taken care of at long last. And just driving by, I haven't gone in, but looks like Tractor Supply is moving along quite nicely. And so I've been told they're putting in the shelving, et cetera. And I think they're restocking and look like they're probably on target to open, I believe they said July 1.
That's correct. I was there Monday. They're on schedule as far as everyone in there is concerned.
Great. That'd be a real plus. You've been hearing a lot about this, and I appreciate Don coming in tonight to bring you up to date on what's happening with the medical crisis we're going through. A lot of people working hard, putting in long hours and coming up with solutions. The urgent care clinics are coming together. We're gonna go from 0, I've already counted, probably gonna have 3 here shortly. Gotta take care of our immediate needs. Those tax issues won't be easy to pass in Franklin County. Based that on history, and I've been here 38 years now. We're gonna need an effort from everybody to get out and get behind it, and push. I'm sorry, this is part of our infrastructure. It's been out there some 70 years, I understand. It's like a lot of our storm sewers and so forth within the city, they're ancient. we're falling apart. We will come out of this better than we were when this happened. But it will only happen if we get the vote out. So, we're gonna be hearing a lot about it between now and election day. And I'm really thankful that the coming together of the people that I've seen so far to work on this project. We're all involved in it, and fortunately or unfortunately, Kenneth had a lot of folks that really can't get out of town and go somewhere else for medical treatment. They need it here. So, and if you look at the county, Kenneth will be the swing part of the election. You got the north part, the south part of the county. That's a major part of the population is here. So if we do our job here, and people out to vote for it, this will happen. You can chide the mayor if you want to, but without bringing it to the council for a vote, I committed some of the Conquest property if needed to build a hospital. I think I got your support on that. We're not gonna let barriers start getting built to when this happens. What it takes, we're gonna knock them down, it's gonna happen, so. Don didn't allude to that, but the existing facility, my understanding is going to be put on the market. If they can sell it, fine. I don't know what anybody would want with it, but it's a great piece of property. So down the road, it doesn't sell, it can get donated, then you got the problem of tearing it down. To get all that accomplished, you're going to have a prime piece of property, and probably the ideal spot to put a hospital. Those are all things that's still up in the air, will be worked on by the right people, and the game plan that comes out of it will be the right one. So I appreciate Don and Commission, their efforts, the doctor groups that are working here in town. They're doing their best to take care of the citizens of Plymouth. So, with that, we'll open the floor up to anyone who'd like to address the council.
Good evening, Dr. Chancellor Lane. It's an open mic. I talked with Metz today, and he has a 200 plus, almost 300 page booklet he's getting ready to print out. He has talked with MoDOT in the past. If you need him to go back and talk to him again, but I know at one point we talked about you had several questions. That was almost 2 months ago. I still don't have a list of questions. Y'all can get those to me. I'll take them to him the next day. He's more than willing to sit down and talk with anybody about any questions that you got for it. But it's it's everything. We don't have to work really fast right now because this isn't going to be done unless hopefully at the last committee meeting we asked for $200,000 to be set back as part of, this year, because we know it's gonna have to have, $350,000, $400,000, so it can't come out all of one budget. I know Mr. Mitchell, he forgot one business, Beltone. They're in my building, they've been in there about 6 months, a little over that. So that's a new business down on the west end of town.
You forgot Scott Hunter's building too.
Yeah.
Needs to be in there.
Yes, to be announced once, yeah. So, one of them to be announced, Beltone got a new sign up last week, while I was gone, and, but that's where the St. Francis Street project is sitting at the time.
I'm not sure, Diane's been conversing with Missy also.
Okay.
Did you say they've got plans ready to go?
He said the booklet was just about ready to be sent off to printing. And it was, he said, well over 200 pages.
But that's for the bid?
I guess that's what I took it as, is that it was part of that bid packet, the plans and everything. So, but that was as of this morning. And so I'd say 200 pages is a lot of information. So, but besides that, that's all I can think of for right now. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. Anyone else like to address the council?
decided on anything as far as limiting of stands or what we're gonna try to do to make it safer this year. For 2 weeks from tomorrow before we open, if we don't do something, I guess this meeting was the next one.
2 weeks from today.
So we won't be doing it this year. Because whatever we do really needs to get put out in the paper to the public, so everybody knows, and it's not coming on Kenny or, you know, all of us. It needs to be on social media, the newspaper.
We were talking in our committee meeting, whatever comes out, I mean, the police will probably print some posters and put them up when they do the fire inspection at the fireworks sale sites. Any changes that we propose and are voted on by the council.
We're going to be meeting with the police committee as well, the police chief, to talk about the safety part. Unfortunately, we can't do anything about limiting the amount of people for this year. We're going to have to talk about it and see what we can do legally. We just talked about it in the meeting prior to this meeting. And right now, we can't say no one can, we can't limit anyone.
Okay, I mean, okay, if we don't, but if we wait till the 19th for y'all to put out
The what?
the trying to sell to this amount, I mean, that's gonna be, you're hard pressed. If you have a thing the 19th, we open the 20th. So if you have a meeting the 19th and then you decide, you know, like Kenny's proposal for the 16 years of age, I think.
So if we come up with a decision on the 19th, then on the 20th, when you start selling fireworks, you'll know that they're gonna be 16 years on the bound. Correct?
That's what I have to go over.
So y'all will contact all of us?
Yes.
for the next
Yeah, he just
time?
said he would come to all the places and put up the
We
sign.
should know before
Yeah.
it happens,
Yeah.
before the 19th,
Right.
and we'll get with you before then.
Right.
And have everything ready to go.
One of the main facets right now that we're shooting for, this was passed several months back. If we have a repeat of last year, the police department is going to start confiscating. We're not trying to cut out the people's fun, but we had like war going on last year over in Baldwin Street. So we certainly don't want to repeat of that. I think we had a couple of dumpster fires. And, the committee's working on that, and we're not trying to restrict trade. We're working here, but some folks just don't want to do what's right. Just like that. Anyone else? Okay, we're going into a closed session here. Motion?
Motion.
Second.